questions, and Dawn and Eric both asked, how does ritual bring the nervous system into an internal coherence between two people or even groups of people?
Ooh, that's a great question. So I actually was just writing about something related to this. So one of the theories of the kind of physiology and psychology of ritual has to do with homeostasis. So we feel a drive to regulate to a state of homeostasis, and in humans this state is experienced as emotion and as feeling. So we have we're motivated in cases of uncertainty or danger. It's one of the reasons why we feel motivated to act in order to, reestablish a state of homeostasis. And this is something that works at the individual level. It also works at the group level. So if you think about things like reading, praying reading Psalms, that kind of thing, these ritualistic behaviors in collective settings have often reading them at the same time, reciting them together. These have powerful psychological effects in reducing anxiety. So it's a big part of why we find engaging in synchronous collective activity so soothing.
So John asked about hazing as a ritual.
Oh, absolutely, that's a ritual. I can tell you what the functionality of that is. So a big part of so rituals can be high arousal, they can be low arousal. Harvey Whitehouse has written about the kind of high frequency, low arousal, like collective practices. These would be like your religious ceremonies and things like that. And then your lower frequency, really high arousal activities. These would be your hazing, your kind of scary rites of passage and initiation. And those serve different functions, quite dramatically. The function of hazing is really about costly signaling. So it's signaling to others in your group that I am so committed to entering your group, your organization, that I am willing to suffer personal duress, maybe pain, humiliation, in order to be included. It seems perverse and bizarre, but damn if it doesn't work. It does have that effect. You think about people who've gone through war together, who've gone through really difficult, even hazing experiences together. Even though in the moment it's miserable and they hate it, they look back at this often with this kind of a pride that they've proven themselves to the group. And it's so critical that with hazing, it's a collective practice, right? So if you took the activities associated with hazing and you only did it to one individual, people would consider this abuse and crime. Somehow, if everybody in that group has to do it, it's a bonding experience. Humans are strange, what can I say? But that's what hazing rituals are for, and they're pervasive around the world, absolutely. Often with those initiation rites and adolescence, the transition from adolescence to adulthood.
So I think we have time for two more before we jump over to the Q&A, the video Q&A for those who signed up for the VIP experience. So Marla asked if you could comment on ritual versus superstition. Where's the line?
Right. So superstition is tricky because people rarely consider their own beliefs superstitious. People often direct superstition or assess a behavior as superstitious when it's someone else's. So it is true that there can be overlap between superstition and ritual, but that's only because superstitious practices can be social conventions, right? But they're not in that the superstitions can be beliefs that are shared within a population, like not jumping over cracks in a sidewalk or things of that sort, that maybe within that population are considered just the way we do things, but from an outside perspective might look ridiculous and irrational. So I can assure all of you that there are things you do that others would, even the most rational among you, that you do that others would look and say, that's superstitious. There's no, superstition is a product of the human kind of cause and effect reasoning, right? So all of these practices are kind of byproducts of the human mind.
All right, so we're going to close this down. Anne's going to join us in a second, but Regina, final question for you. What are maybe 2 or 3 books you might recommend for someone who wants to learn more?
On ritual, let's see. There's I can post a list of those.
Yeah, we can put it in the event recap if you would like. If that's
okay.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot here.
Well, so there's, I guess, the reason I hesitate is there's lots of different types of books on ritual. So ritual is as Anne had pointed out, it historically has kind of remained in the domain of anthropology, and there are a variety of different treatments, intellectual treatments of ritual within anthropology. Roy Rappaport's Pigs and Ancestors is an incredibly fascinating book on ritual from a kind of evolutionary, biological, anthropological perspective. And so there's a bunch of books of that sort, which I could recommend. Cultural anthropologists have written about ritual. There's also a lot of scholarship in religious studies, for example. Ritual for cognitive scientists and psychologists like myself is a relatively new topic. So there's probably not a ton of books written on that. I'm writing one currently, so mine will be out eventually. But I'll post a list based on different treatments of it, which I think is helpful.
But I hope when your book comes out, we can have you back on here.
Me too. I would love that.
I'm buying it.
All right. Good.
I want an autographed copy, though.
No problem. My pleasure.
Well, Cristine, that was, as we suspected it would be, super interesting. This is one of the best aspects that Rick and I claim for our jobs is that we get paid to listen to people like you. So thank you, National Academy of Sciences. We appreciate that. So we're going to let you go so that you can head over to the VIP Q&A. And we're going to thank everyone for being here. And as we said at the top of our event, it's the close of our season 3, but we are already at work on what we are going to be doing when we come back in the fall. So we've got some great speakers lined up. And so you'll see those invitations in your inbox. And we can't wait to see you again. But I don't know, happy hot back summer. Get some vacation if you can. That's what we're planning to do. So thank you, and we'll see you in September.
See you in September, everybody.
Recording stopped.